Hello, and welcome to Holston Valley's Unitarian Universalist Virtual Church. My name is Bradley, and I'm glad we can get together, even though we cannot be together. Our service today is a bit different from the norm. The Sunday closest to our Independence Day holiday is affectionately dubbed Soapbox Sunday. Today, it lands right on July the 4th. It is our nod to the First Amendment, in which we exercise our right to free speech. Members and friends of this church will get up on their soapbox to teach and enlighten us on topics of importance to them. Today's three speakers all offer a diverse range of topics. It can take a lot of courage to get up here and speak, so we give a heartfelt thank you and kudos to today's volunteers. For our chalice lighting today, we look towards our classic American superheroes, Spider-Man, Green Lantern, and the Human Torch, for inspiration. Mindful that with great power comes great responsibility, we light this chalice in the hopes that in the brightest day, in the blackest night, our faith will flame on. We pray for the courage to let our lives bear witness to the power of we the people. When we are afraid to speak or act for the benefit of all, show us the beauty and power of courage. When we are tempted to abandon the common good for the glory and enrichment of others, show us the virtue of selfless generosity and hospitality. And when by sheer power or will we would claim the right to diminish the worth and dignity of others, grant us the wisdom of humility. For our prelude, our Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist virtual choir performs the Star-Spangled Banner with Giselle Gwynn on piano. We offer a big thank you to Don Shockley, Ann Johnson, and Wendy Hurl for making this happen.
I will say, can you see by the dawn's early light what the road we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and o'er its great glare the thirsty air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We will sing Loving Kindness next. Please hold a light in your heart to dispel the darkness, to honor someone or some event, or to lift up a memory.
May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness.
Hello, my name is Don Shockley. Today I'm going to talk to you about a song that many of us know, the Star-Spangled Banner. Known as the national anthem, this is our song as Americans. As we sing this song, the words float across our mind, but what does it mean? Let me tell you a story. In 1814, a lawyer from Baltimore, Maryland, Francis Scott Key, was a witness to a sight that caused him to pen the words to this song. The colonies were at war with Britain, and as in all wars, prisoners were captured. Key was tasked with the job of negotiating a prisoner exchange with the captain of a ship that was anchored in the harbor. This ship held a large number of prisoners. He was taken to the ship by a small boat and began the negotiations. When all was said and done, the captain agreed to a one-on-one exchange, and Key went down into the ship to tell the men that they would be free tomorrow. When he returned topside, the captain said, "We have a problem. I have been told that the war fleet is going to destroy the fort and the war will be over. The colonies would remain British citizens and these men would be freed anyway." Key said the Fort McHenry was full of women and children and that the British could not fire upon it. The captain said, "Don't worry. We have sent word to the people of the fort and told them that all they have to do is take down that big flag that they are so proud of and surrender, and there would be no shelling." As Key looked out to sea, he could see hundreds of warships. He went back down into the ship and told the men what was about to happen. As twilight fell, the flag was still atop the ramparts, and all at once the shelling started. The sound was deafening. One after the other, all of the ships let loose, and it was continuous. 1 hour, 2, 3, 4 hours, all night the shelling did not stop. At 4 a.m., the captain went to Key and said, "What is wrong with those people? All they have to do is surrender. They can't win. We can stop this." Key looked at the fort, and through the red glare and the exploding shells, he could see the American flag. And he responded. I remember what George Washington said. The thing that sets Americans apart from others is that he will die on his feet before he will live on his knees. All night long, shell after shell pounded the fort. As the sun came up, a heavy mist lay across the land, but the ramparts were tall enough so that Francis Scott Key could see the flag was still there. It was ripped, it had holes, but it was still there. He wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner that night. As you watch fireworks tonight, remember what they represent and think about what the Star-Spangled Banner means to you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Noelle Marshall.
My name is Bob Warner. Together, as a couple, we call ourselves Light Partners.
Our collective mission is to partner with light to serve our one sacred life.
Every morning when we wake up, we ask the question, what is mine to do today? Focus, urgency, purpose, and as best we can, deliver with joy.
How do we grow spiritually? And as Chief Seattle would say, what is ours to do to serve the interconnected web of life?
From the soapbox today, we would like to invite your consideration of your connection to the numerous Unitarian Universalist principles which we relate to the web of life.
BC, before COVID, we were blessed over the last 10 plus years to travel this beautiful country in our RV home, following the path of spirit. We've had the opportunity to engage with many spiritual communities, intentional communities, individuals, and organizations who are committed to building up the world into a better place. As we travel the consciously evolving road, we found ourselves in communities of conscious individuals desiring to act spiritually and collectively as love in action.
This love in action, as individuals, communities, organizations, and movements are discovering their unique ways of supporting the causes of social justice, environmental sustainability, a deep connection with nature, and a commitment to the experiment of the American democracy. In the world today, both in America and across the globe, it's easy to see a great divide, a divide of our oneness of humanity, oneness with nature, a divide seated in the perception, or maybe the programming, that there is a fear of others based on culture, ideologies, or skin color, seated in disrespect for others and a superiority relationship with nature, rather than a recognition of our being a part of nature. It's heartbreaking to witness the pain that is caused by hearts filled with fear, which often translates to hate, and then can translate to actions against our own brothers and sisters and all our relations.
For many of us, the challenge seems at times to be so overwhelming to answer the question, what is mine to do? That emotion of overwhelm, I find, subsides, however, as we find our peace through meditation, our commitment to our spiritual development, our framing the big question as a curiosity rather than fear, and in our service to others and the greater good.
Our journey has found us continuing to study with curiosity the truth about the issues of social injustice, environmental degradation, and the American experiment. Our love actions have included participating in a walk across America to demand climate action, being arrested by the Capitol Hill Police in Washington, D.C. twice, and protesting in the streets from New York City to Johnson City. We also contribute financially to key organizations and write to legislators and newspapers a lot.
Now that's sacred activism. Now that we have settled into a home base in Bloemfontein, and in the last month becoming official members of HVUUC, we continue to find those of common consciousness in the local area where we can participate through love in action and in local chapters of national and international organizations and movements.
It's a blessing that there are so many wonderful groups here in the Tri-Cities area that are acting locally to affect positive change. Local chapters of United Religions Initiative, Interfaith Power and Light, the League of Women Voters, the Tennessee ACLU, and Represent Us, as well as the New Generation Freedom Fighters, are all examples of opportunities locally to support the greater good. We're also excited to see how we can support the Unitarian Universalist principles through the work of this congregation, perhaps through the energizing of the Social Justice Committee. We invite you to join us in this journey of love in action.
Peace and blessings. Thank you for listening to our soapbox.
Hi, I'm Kim Ray. I'd like to talk to you just a minute about the COVID-19 vaccination. I'm sure I'm talking to the choir. I hope I'm preaching to the choir. But just in case anybody's still on the fence or waiting for something to decide, I want to tell you how disappointed I was the day I woke up after getting the vaccine. I had not grown a third arm. I found out that my arm was not really magnetic. My keys keep falling off. The microchip isn't working. Mark still can't find me in the house. I did not grow a 5G hotspot. I don't get signals from outer space. I can't even pick up the radio station from Chicago. But what I did get was peace of mind knowing that I'm far less likely to contract a lethal case of COVID-19, and even more importantly, I'm less likely to pass it on to someone else I know or love. We're all in this together, so please, I'm begging you, do your part. If you can get vaccinated, do get vaccinated. If you're on the fence, now's the time to jump off. Thanks very much. Spread respect, not COVID.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for our gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
We pray for the courage to let our lives bear witness to the power of we, the people. When we are afraid to speak or act for the benefit of all, show us the beauty and power of courage. When we are tempted to abandon the common good for the glory and enrichment of ourselves, show us the virtue of selfless generosity and hospitality. And when by sure power or will we would claim the right to diminish the worth and dignity of others, grant us the wisdom of humility. Please help me close this service now. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. My name is Sarah S., and I currently serve the church as one of the directors for our magical summer camp, and I am happy that we could be here together today. Thanks for joining us, and please come back whenever you like. We will post another pre-recorded virtual church service next Sunday with featured guest speaker Karis Carter. Please remember that our services are recorded in advance, so sometimes events move forward without us. However, you can find up-to-date information on local events, social justice issues, inspiration, and content for all ages on our Facebook page. Please contact our caring team if you or anyone you know needs help during this time. For our postlude on this July 4th, we present Freedom of Speech by John Mellencamp, performed by Amy Kay, Linda W., and Wendy Hurl. The postlude is designed to celebrate all that we have shared in this Soapbox Sunday and to acknowledge that we all deserve space to speak our minds. As you make your way through the week, remember these words: you are good, you are loved, we all need a little work, and we're all in this together. And there's nothing left to say except, yay, church!
Freedom of speech, freedom to say, freedom to think, this is my lucky day. Freedom of thought, freedom of dreams, freedom to believe that we all can be kings. Freedom is yours, freedom is mine, freedom of speech so I can write down these lines. If you and I agree, hold out your hand to me. We will share our freedoms with our friends and family. Freedom of speech, freedom to say, freedom to think, this is my lucky day. Freedom of thought, freedom of dreams, freedom to believe that we all can be kings. take our thoughts so many ways. If your thoughts are different, well, I think that's okay. We should all try to keep the golden rule and cherish our freedoms in our home and in our school. Freedom of speech, freedom to say, freedom to think, this is my lucky day. Freedom of thought, freedom of dreams, freedom to believe that we